Bette's Makes, and today we're going to make this cute little shadow card. It's so easy to make once you know how to put the pieces together, and it won't take very long to put it together. You just need several pieces of cardstock, several greens, a blue, maybe a double-sided, some colors for your chick, and maybe the seagulls in the background and the tree. It depends on what you want to use. You can use a lot of scrap paper with this particular project. So, before we get going on making this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Well, here we are in Design Space, and we're ready to make our shadow card. You're going to need two files for this one. The first one is called Shadow Card Part 1, and the next one is called Shadow Card Part 2. So we'll select both of those and insert these images into our design space. I'm just going to move one out of the way so we can separate items as we go. So I'm going to ungroup one of these first, and I'll take the one that's already selected. I'm going to come over here and ungroup it. I just want to make sure I've just got this one particular piece. Now there are a number of pieces hiding in behind this, so let's start by changing this color to say a yellow. And then we're going to arrange that and send it to the back, and you'll see that we have a couple of other pieces that go with it. Now I'm going to change this one and this one to yellow as well, and then I'm going to move those off to the side. Now the two pieces I just selected here, I might just have to move them over here. Those are going to fit in here once they're cut out. Now the other four lines that you see here must be score lines. And because we're making a shadow box, it is really important that these become folds and not cuts. Now I've selected four. Just come over to the layers panel to make sure you've got all four. I'm going to change them from cut to score. Perfect. Now, to make sure they stay together, I'm going to select all of these. I am going to group them, and then I am going to come down here and attach them. So now we have the outside of our shadow box already. We have the two little pieces that are going to fit in. Those are pretty well done. I will just move them over here. Now we are going to cut our shadow card from a double-sided cardstock. So this means this will be on one side, this will be the flip color. So it's going to come out of the same piece of paper. If I come over here, I'm going to ungroup this. This one is going to fit on the outside here. It is going to be the same piece of paper, so I need to color it the same as well. And I'm going to color it the same yellow, and I'm just going to bring it over, and it will actually sit like this once it's cut. Now the greeting itself, just select over the whole thing. It has a birthday greeting, plus it has the cut for the card. So let's change the cut first to a yellow so I can see whatever else is on there. And there we go. Now, we also want to select the happy birthday so it writes inside of this particular item. So we're going to have to come here to the control panel, and we're just going to slide up here, and we're going to select all the letters individually. I'm holding down the shift key and clicking on each one of the letters. It's easier to do it in the control panel because you can see what you're doing. D-A-Y exclamation mark. Now I'm going to group these together just so they don't move apart. I'm going to change those from cut to draw. Now you may want to draw it in a certain color. I am going to change it from black, say, to red. Have it draw in red. I then want to hold those two pieces together and group them, and then I want to attach those. Now this greeting will be glued on over top like this, so we have the basic parts of the card are all ready. Now I have a few other pieces. This is going to be in the very back of the card. I want it to be blue, so it's the blue sky in the background. On that blue sky, we're going to have a couple of seagulls. They are just cut. I'm just going to duplicate that. Now you can choose what color you want them. You can have them white or another color. We're also going to have some hills that are going to fit on top here. So we don't have to do much with this. This is going to be a green color. So this is what the back will look like. Next in order here, we're going to have a couple of layers that are going to fit in. Now this first one is going to be in the very front, but it has two edges here, and I need those both to be score lines. So I'll click on both of those, come over here, change them to score, and of course the next thing we want to do is select over those, group them, and attach them. So that will come up to the front. Now we have one more hill that's going to fit in between the background and this one. It will be another color. Once again, it has two score lines. So click on the first score line, click on the next one. They're both set to cut right now, as you can see in the layers panel. And you want to come over here and select score. Now those should be set to score lines. Select over them all, group them, and attach them. And that makes sure everything stays in place. So actually when the card's put together, this will come here and this one will be at the very front. So I'm going to arrange that one and send it to the front so you can see how those will go. Now in between you're going to be attaching various pieces. Now I'm going to have the tree is going to fit in around here. Now the tree will be a different color. Now there's a shadow and there's the tree itself. They are both set to cut. So that will sturdy up the tree when you put on top of the trunk. So we don't want to do anything else with those. They will cut separately. They can be the same color if you want. There's the outline and there's the tree. I can set this one to also have the same color instead of black. So let's go to bright green. And it should come up the same color and go on the same part. Now for the trunk, we only need one of those, and that is brown, and that will take care of our tree. Here is a little bug or flower, depending on how you look at it. You want the center part to be drawn in place. So I have it selected, come over here to the layers panel and look at the inside. I'm going to change that from a cut to a draw. And because I've got two pieces, I want to group those together and I want to attach them. Now you can make those any color you want. They'll sit on top. Right now I have it set to just white, but you can move it to the same color as the seagull here, or you can make the seagulls white. It depends on what you want to do. Now we have some flowers here. We have three parts to this flower. So I'm going to click on the first one here and you'll see there's two cuts. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and I'm going to group those first two and I'm just going to bring them down so we have one flower. Now on the inside, instead of a cut, I want that to draw. And we can draw it in black. I'm going to suggest we draw it in red just so we can see it. Now we've grouped it, we need to attach it. The next one is just a plain flower and it is going to go in behind this one so it'll double up. You don't need to do anything to that. Those two have completely be finished. Now let's take a look at our little toadstools here. They're pretty small and there's two pieces to each one of them. There's the red cap and then there's the brown for the mushroom. Now you can make it the same color as the tree trunk if you want. So if I click on the bottom tree trunk item here and here, let's just get both of those and let's find those trunks. One is here and one is here. We can change that color to the same brown that we had for the tree trunk so you're not wasting paper. Now we just don't have to attach those. We don't have to do anything else with them. It's just making sure the color is happy. Now here comes our little chick that's going to sit in the front. This is the back of the chick. And this is the part that fits over the front. And once you put those two together, you're going to see the colors in behind. You'll get the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, and the tummy. You don't need to do anything else here. Just pick the color of paper you want for the back of the chick, whether it's an orange color or maybe you want black in the background. It is entirely up to you. And as far as the front of the chick, you can also pick a different color for that one. It is a cut. Right now it's set to white. I'm going to make my chick a gold color and maybe the back more of an orangey color. Let's go for a nice dark orange. So when I set those two on top of each other, you're going to have a really nice effect. This is all you need to do to get ready in Design Space for cutting these out on the various mats. So let's save our project, and we're going to call this Shadow Card. Save it. And then we're going to make it. Now it's going to put things on different mats. If you want it the same color as the seagulls and don't want one white and two white, perhaps you want everything white. What you can do is take this item. I'm going to move that object and I can put it on the seagull one and click OK. I'll just move the seagulls out of the way here, and you can see all three items will cut on this paper. Now it can be a white or some other color. Let's take a look at the second one. These are the mushroom caps. You do want them in red, so leave them on the red on their own. Then comes the tree trunk and the two mushroom bottoms. These are small pieces of paper you need to cut. There's going to be several of them. There is the back of the chick and there is the front of the chick. Next, you're going to have a lot of the pieces cut from the same item. So this is double-sided paper that you want. Make sure when you're cutting this piece, you have the double-sided paper flipped in a way that the writing will show. If you have something that's too designed, that's not going to happen. So you need one sheet of paper for this. Let's go to the next one. These are the flowers. And then we have the hills in the background. We have the middle one, the front one. We have the back one in a dark green. These will all be different colors. And then we have the tree leaves, a different green again, and then the sky blue background. So we actually have 13 mats. If you wanted to, you can move various items onto the same mat and just cut pieces of paper to fit in those little corners. We are now ready to start cutting this. So let's continue. It'll hook up with my maker. I am using medium cardstock for all of mine. And we're going to start with the very top one here. And it is telling me I need a draw. And the reason I need a pen is because on the middle of the flower, I had something draw. So we're going to draw and then we're going to cut. The next one is strictly cut. Most of them are cut, except when you get to this one, you're going to have some scoring and drawing when it comes to the basic part of the shadow card. And we're going to have some scoring and drawing in a few of the other pieces as well. So we are ready to start going. I've selected my material, medium cardstock. Make sure you select the right material for you. And we're ready to cut, and I will see you on the other side when we put this project together. So here we are in Design Space, and this is the sample one of shadow card that we had done before with a tree and a chick and the flower and the bug and the birds in behind. And as you can see, the number of layers that we have in this particular item. So we're going to be making this, but with this design that we had already cut. I'll just put that one aside. So this is the outside of the box. Now we can determine whether we want to have this one facing out with these on the inside, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do. There are some score lines here that we have to be very aware of, and the first thing we want to do is take this and score everything. We have a few pieces we want to score. this is going to be the outside of the box, and we'll start putting some pieces on right away for the outside of the box. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to glue on some of these decorations. We want to center these here and here, and we also have another square that we want to put on it, and I'm going to flip it. So we have our square. I think we'll probably put it on that way, and I'm going to start by putting the square on. I'm using some simple craft glue for this. Okay, we're looking pretty good for these. Set that aside for a moment, and we're going to start working on some other pieces. This is going to be the very back of the card, and if we put these together, you're going to see that this is the very background hill. I'm just going to flip this over. There's a fair amount of gluing in this project. Looks pretty good. I'm going to center that as best as possible, making sure it's even on the bottom. And I'm using this craft glue because it'll move around a little bit, not for long, but just enough so that I can get everything into place. Now there's the first part of our background. Now we're also going to embellish this with a couple of the seagulls that we cut out, and I have 2 of those. So I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of glue to their wings. And this is going to take care of the background piece for now. Just put that aside. Now we have another set of hills that is going to fit here. So there's a couple of burnish lines here because you want this to stand up in front. So we have to make sure that we get these fold lines well burnished so that when we glue them to the back of the box, we're doing okay. And then we have another set of hills here. And it doesn't matter which direction you have them. Once again, you need to fold those in because they're going to form another part of the shadow box. Now, even though it looks like, okay, I can just put this together, then add things later, it doesn't quite work out that way. You really have to add some of your pieces long before you glue it into the box itself. Now for the tree, I had cut out 2 pieces, one that looks a little bit like branches and one at the back, and I just want it to be a little bit offset so that I have a tree with a bit of a shadow. Now simply glue those tree parts together. And if it looked like that, it just gives it a bit of a shadow effect, as you can see. And then we have the trunk, which I'm going to paste on the outside of it. Just the top piece. Looks like a decent tree. Now with the tree, it's going to fit in on this piece. So on this piece, you need to then glue the tree to this set of hills. Now I'm going to glue part of the top and the bottom. That is so that it is stable and it will sit easily in the card. There we go. Now you could add some other embellishments here if you want. You could add a little bit, my little bug here, a little flower. You can add that to the bottom, which I think we will. Now it has a centerpiece here, which I'd love to color in with another color, so I just happen to have a red pen here. And I will glue the back of this. I'm just going to place it in the center here. Perfect. So now we have the piece that goes here. Now we have another part where I'm going to glue some mushrooms, and then at the very front, of course, I'm going to glue my chicks, and those will go on last. So now for our mushrooms, they came in 2 parts. So all you need to do is glue the base down first. And we pretty well have the decoration that's going to sit here. And of course our chick is going to sit right at the front, and then we're going to have some flowers to add. Alright, now that these are in place, we are going to have to attach them so that they look like this. We're going to start with the frontmost piece first. And we're going to fold these towards the decoration. As you can see here, I'm folding them towards the decoration because I'm going to glue these flaps to the inside just like this. That's the first piece we're going to glue in, but we're only going to do it on one side to start. So we're going to start on this side. And it's looking pretty darn good from one. You can just check it out by going like this. Yeah, they look pretty good. Now, the last piece, of course, is the backing, and we want to glue this to the very last part of the flap here. We don't want it on the inside. We definitely want it this way. If you put it on the inside, you're going to see it when you open up your card. So let's start by adding the glue. It looks pretty good. So we've got the first part done. It's looking pretty darn good. I'm just going to open it up a little bit and let it dry, because as that's drying, we're going to add our chick. Now we have the background of the chick in orange, and then we have him in yellow. You may have chosen a different color. All we're going to do is glue those pieces together so that you can see the eyes, the nose, and the cheek. You want to apply the glue to the yellow piece, not to the orange, so that you see it. So we're just going to apply the glue here and glue our little guy together. Try the feet as well. And then we're going to add the back of the chick. Now he is put together. Now he is going to be poking out here. So I'm going to apply some glue down here and add our chick here on the eyes, so he'll come up through this side. So let's add the glue in this area. I'm going to add our chick. Sit right there. Now we really have to let that dry. And as you can see, we're starting to get exactly what we want. I might just move his wings out to the front and maybe bring him up a little bit. All right, we are ready to put in the last finishing touches. And that's now gluing the rest of it to this side. So we're going to have to start with the same one we started with before, the front one, and glue the flap. And this time you're going to have to bring it up. See, they're starting to look pretty good together. And of course our last piece will be to slide this in and glue that shut, and that will be the last part of gluing the pieces together. Just have to make sure everything stays apart the way we want it to, and it seems to be. Okay, there's the basis of our shadow card. Now we're going to add a couple of little embellishments on the outside. I have a happy birthday banner across here that I can add, and I'll just glue that into place. Just need the ends glued on this one. I chose a gold pen and I'm not too happy with the result, but for now that will do. Happy birthday. And I had you cut 2 flowers, and they're the same material as this. So one of them you'll be able to have bent like this, and then the same with this one. So I've decided I'm going to do, like, even though it's drawn on the inside and you can color it, I've decided that maybe we can put them both in this direction and then offset them when you glue them together so that they stick out as some beautiful little flowers. You'll be able to pull those together. So I'm just going to glue the center together. And there we have our shadow card. It's not hard to put together, but as long as you know the steps to make and how to get these to sit in properly, it's very easy to make. Well, I hope you had a lot of fun putting this together. It wasn't difficult. The only hard part for me was making sure everything lined up on the bottom and making sure the glue was dry before I moved on to the next step. Well, I've made a couple of these now and I really love putting these together. Such a great way to give a gift to someone, something that's a little bit different, and it's not hard to put together. So until next time, happy crafting.